New Falls Count Anywhere. It is go home week. It's been a while since we recorded this show. It's actually been over a month actually since we recorded it with Rob. Of course, we're doing this with Rob the Genius, of course, who's 1/3 of the Mindless Wrestling Podcast, also host of the Rob the Genius podcast, which puts people to every 2, 3, sometimes 2 months. I don't know the man I feel. Rob, what's up, buddy?
I promised to do things more frequently this year.
No, you made it. You made it. And of course, I enjoy your work. I've been really enjoying your podcast of late. Of course, we're a part of the Wrestling Podcast. A lot to get to today. It is go home week. Now this is the time of year now where my wrestling, attention gets much more focused. Royal Rumble is my favorite PLE of the year. Now I have issues with right now. I'm coming to the week with because of the fact that number one, it's on ESPN. I don't have the ESPN Unlimited yet. Still, have not made a decision on how I'm going to handle that situation, which we discussed on the show, months ago when the change first happened over the fall. And number two, the show starts at 2:00. I work till technically 5:00, but I get out between 3 and 4 on Saturdays, so I could technically catch the end of the Rumble. But regardless, I may miss it. I'm gonna try to watch it, of course, but I gotta figure out the ESPN situation. That all that will work out in itself, in the coming days. But a lot to get to the show. I'm gonna preview the Rumble. This is going week. Preview the Rumble predictions, of course. I want to discuss Chelsea Green and her ceiling because there were some comments that Michael Hayes made on the season 2 premiere of WWE Unreal on Netflix that really caught my eye. And I want your opinion on this. And then this year is actually also the 25-year anniversary of the 2001 Royal Rumble. So I'll acknowledge that a little bit, and we'll probably acknowledge other anniversary Rumbles in the coming weeks, of course. All right. But first off, before we get to the Rumble predictions and all that stuff, I told you, I love the Rumble. It's my favorite PLE of all time. I wanted to talk about putting together our top 5 Rumble moments / matches all time. Not the best, just our favorites. You and I, you're older than I am. Obviously, we've been watching wrestling for fucking 40 years now. You and I both. I'm hitting 40 years next year, actually. In fact, 87 when I started. You started before that. So I want to discuss our top 5 favorite Rumble moments or matches, your choice. Because I got a few here. I got a bunch. And that's what harder than I thought because I have a shit ton of ones that I do really stand out for me. So, Rob the Genius, what is your 5th favorite Rumble moment or match?
Okay, my 5th one was from the 2018 Rumble.
Really?
Yes, and it was the 2018 Men's Rumble. And when they got down to the final 6, there was so the final 6 were Rey Mysterio, John Cena, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And there was a lot of symbolism in the final 6 because in the final 6, okay, also on one side, you had Ruthless Aggression guys. You had Cena, Rey, Randy Orton. The other side, you had more current people, Roman, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you got down to the final 4, it was like, I think it was Roman, Shinsuke, and I think and then Rey and Cena. And then wait a minute, was that the final 4? Maybe it wasn't. I forget, but no, it wasn't. It was I think it was Roman. The final 4 was Roman, Cena, Shinsuke, and Finn Balor. And that was so. Then on one side you had the 2 kind of chosen top guys, Cena and Roman Reigns, and on the other side you had the guys that came over from Japan. The IWC darlings, Finn Balor and Shinsuke.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final 2 were Roman and Shinsuke, and who both in. So of course you had the chosen, the chosen top guy versus the IWC New Japan Wrestling favorite.
Right.
So, I mean, and it was just handled. That's the way you do a final 6.
I gotta watch that. Yeah. I don't think I watched a Rumble before actually.
Because well, I mean, now the Rumble match itself was fine. It kind of meandered in some places, but when it got down to that, and it's just And and then of course it was a really good sequence to whittle it all the way down. And so, because like when you like the final four and the final six, there should be it to me it's best when there's some type of symbolism going on.
Yeah, of course.
And that was perfect all the way down to all the way down to the final two, and then again Shinsuke won the whole thing.
Mm. So he did win the Rumble. That's right. He did win the Rumble. Okay, okay. It's interesting. Interesting. And obviously, Rumble was a favorite to win the whole thing, right? So a nice little swerve there, I guess, huh?
Yeah,
Nice. All right.
yeah, that was one of
2018's see
well,
2018's not a book for me because like again I wasn't watching at the time, and even when I'm doing my catching up in hindsight, watching old manias and things I missed. 2017, 2018 is 16-2 also you can call that. It's kind of a blur for me, even watching in hindsight. So I gotta really lock it in those years some point down the road. My number five actually, you'll know this one of course, is Ric Flair's change of promo after winning the Rumble in '92. The first Rumble that actually meant something for the world title. We all know um, the Rumble is a massive, deal now, but back then they didn't. It wasn't consequential until that year. And Ric Flair was number 3 in that Rumble, and he went through the entire from 3 on. The way it was booked, you had some of the biggest names in history of the business at that time in that Rumble too. Piper, Hogan, Savage, you name it. And just the way he navigated that, that's the this all of that. The way it was booked was perfect. It made me believe still to this day it is the greatest singular Rumble ever. So that moment though, selling that was amazing. So Flair's promo number 5 for me. Any thoughts?
yeah, because honestly, okay, because I remember I was starting to kind of fade out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Likewise.
but I was interested in how they were going to handle Rick once he went over there, right? Because
Yeah.
as an NWA loyalist, Ric Flair meant the world to me. But Vince, we know, look, Vince is going to book you ever he feels like booking you, no matter what you did somewhere else. So I wasn't sure how they were going to handle Rick. So for me, him winning the world championship, that was, you know, Vince rarely validates what people do in other companies. Rarely. I
Yeah.
mean,
Because he's very petty.
yeah, he is, yes. And so for him to have Rick win that match and win the world championship, that was
And go over those guys. Went over
yeah,
Savage, went over Hogan,
yeah,
Sid, you
yeah,
name it. The
yeah.
who's who.
And then so to do that, that was, I mean, that was a feel good moment. As much as we wish Rick was still in the NWA at that time.
Yeah.
That was a good, it was a feel good moment if you were any type of NWA loyalist, because that was validation. Like, you know, that was Vince finally, for once,
Acknowledging.
recognizing that, hey, that stuff over there on the other side of the street is actually good sometimes too.
Yeah. Because the way they treat Dusty those couple of years before then was oof.
Oh man, look, oh man, that hurt that man. Yeah,
We went over that many times over. Trust me, we know. So
yeah.
all right, you're number 4, Rob.
Number four for me was 2021, and when Bianca Belair won the Women's Rumble.
Mm. Great
And
match.
and look, for all the obvious, and look, look, it is for all the obvious reasons. Okay,
Mhm.
it is okay. She was the first. I mean, look, Sasha Banks got. I mean, she did. I mean, Sasha Banks got pushed, really well and won a whole bunch of things. But Sasha never got. She didn't get the Rumble victory. She was never treated as if she was never given that type of push towards winning anything. or she was never given that type of push towards a big WrestleMania victory. And so for Bianca to get that and what it meant, um, it meant that there was, yes, there was some real actual changing going on, right? And that that they weren't just going to use the black woman to put over the white women, okay?
Right.
Because we,
Absolutely.
cause, for years that had been the case, whether it was Jacqueline or Jazz, in particular, those two in particular, um, and Sasha in a lot of ways was, I mean, Sasha got treated better than Jazz and Jacqueline did, but ultimately, she put over Charlotte and Alexa Bliss and Becky and Ronda Rousey. That was, you know, and so Bianca winning was it was a sign that what, okay, that a black woman, there's a actually higher ceiling now for a black woman in professional wrestling. Not
And of course, she parlayed that to win the title a few months later
yeah,
at Mania, and main
yeah,
event Mania, in fact, night
yeah,
one.
yes,
So with Sasha,
yeah.
night, legendary night. Great pick there. Um, Number four for me actually is from 1997 when Austin's face when Bret Hart came out when the music came on. Austin's shock face when Bret Hart's music came.
Mhm.
Fantastic, great theater. That feud was the best of that year by far. That Austin Hart feud
Mhm.
from rolling out from 96 into 97, which really set the tone for the Attitude Era before it was Attitude Era, and really set the tone on Bret Hart's turn. And that doesn't. I don't think the Bret turn works with anyone else but Austin.
Oh yeah, because you need somebody. Well, because they were already halfway booing Sean as it was.
Yeah,
So you needed somebody. If Brett was going to go all the way and turn heel, you had to have somebody on the other side who was not going to get booed.
yeah.
And so Austin was at that point where I mean, he was really heating up, and people really gotten behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, he was cooler than everybody else there.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, at
And
that point,
it'll only get bigger too as the time go on.
yeah. And so that's yeah. I mean, that's when you want to do a heel turn, um, you gotta have the right person to do it against.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. All right, number three, Mr. Genius. What you got?
For me, number three, well, I was gonna pick at least one with my favorite woman in wrestling.
I knew it. You can't avoid that, bro. You know that.
So, um, actually, I mean, there are actually three that I had in mind. I didn't pick all three of them,
Okay.
but
What wouldn't surprise if you did though?
well, no, I'm not.
I'm joking, bro. I'm
I'm not
joking.
that
I'm
easy.
joking. I'm joking, bro. Come on.
Oh, I mean, um, well, because all right, obviously the one that the first time she won was great. Um, I really like the when there was when in 2022 now when Ronda Rousey came back. Now I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed that Rumble match, and because a lot of people were just mad, they were pissed off at the fact that Ronda was even coming back, and they shit all over the match. But I thought that match is much better than people give credit for, and because that
Hmm.
one, Charlotte was actually she was SmackDown Women's Champion, and she went into the match as champion. She's like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to win, I'm going to pick my opponent, and like she went on this run through that match, was just she was just throwing people out left and right,
Hmm.
and they intention and the way it was booked, they had her throw out a lot of fan favorite people to build up, just to piss people off even more. I think she threw out Lita, she threw out Mickey James, she threw out Rhea and Bianca, and then and then of course number 30, here comes Ronda, and Ronda won. But I just personally, I mean, but that's not the one I picked. The one I picked was last year because she'd been injured. She'd been out for a year.
Yeah.
She blew a
Yeah.
knee out, and this was and just her coming back and winning. Coming back from knee injuries are not easy to come back from,
No.
and she was out for over a year, and just so to see her back in the ring and see her back in action, and get a big win like that, that was big deal.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that. I would thought you picked that one, but I'm glad you did. Three for me is actually in the same vein, sort of the domination that she showed there. Mine is from arguably my favorite Royal Rumble of all time from 2020, and that is when Brock Lesnar dominated everyone as number
Oh,
one guy.
that was so good, man. That was so.
You cannot. That was booked beautifully, beautifully. The way remember the first Elias comes down, starts singing the song. He goes out and grabs him the guitar. Then he got Big E, you got Kofi, you got Shinsuke, and all these guys. And he's getting worn down little by little, but he's still holding serve. Keith Lee at the time was on the way up from NXT.
Yeah.
They get into a little Haas match. Wasn't until Drew McIntyre came in there and eliminated him, which he got help from Ricochet, of course. But the way they booked the entire Rumble in general from start to finish, but I love how they booked Brock. That was fantastic booking. So that's my number three favorite moment of Rumble history. All right, your number two.
Number two from 2016, and this is very pertinent, going into this year's show.
Okay.
Was AJ Styles debuting.
So I get it now. I remember back in the day when it happened, when he debuted. I remember being on the internet at the time and AJ Styles, like, okay, who the hell is AJ Styles? And I wasn't watching at the time. It wasn't until 2019 I started watching the product, learning about him. I'm like, oh, I get it. This dude is. But also, this might be the first guy that had like a massive following on the internet because of being in other companies that WWE didn't sign until way after the fact, right? So the vibe was like, I'm assuming that, wow, they actually signed this guy finally, who had this massive appeal and popularity, but Vince never touched him until then. And then the crowd went nuts when it happened. I feel like maybe for me, there was a groundswell of like, you got to have this guy in WWE at some point. And finally he did it. After all this time, he's finally in WWE.
Because for me, like, I didn't watch TNA, so I had never actually seen him.
Prior 2016, never saw him?
Yeah, I never actually seen him. I'd heard of him because even when I wasn't watching, I was still like, reading.
You know any of his work at all?
No.
Ring of Honor, nothing?
No, I read about him, but I had never seen him.
That's interesting.
So for me, because look, I mean, if you watched TNA, obviously you knew who he was. If you were into New Japan wrestling and all that stuff, you knew who he was. If you only watched WWE, then you may have heard the name, but he was like an urban legend almost. Like there's this guy AJ Styles, he's really good. And he just seemed like one of those guys that just wasn't going, wasn't going to come. And so like because like Roman had cleared the ring, Roman Reigns, he cleared the ring, he's standing there by himself, and this music hits, and it's not any music anybody recognizes. And then Roman, even himself, got this look on his face like, who the hell is this? and so he sold it great.
He was what, number 3?
Roman, I think he was.
No. Roman was what?
Roman was number 1, I think. But
so AJ's number 3, right?
It was like 3 or 4, something like that.
Okay.
And so Roman sold it. He sold it great. And because he got this look on his face like who the hell is this? Right? So then and just when he comes from behind the curtain, and then so for me, now of course a lot of people who knew him were really excited, but even for me, it's just like, oh, that's like, oh, that's him. That's.
But the reaction that he got, you unless you're watching anything else, WWE, unless you're watching wrestling product outside WWE, people knew he was in the building at some point. People had idea who he was. So there was a groundswell already of people looking forward to this moment. Hearing, obviously, I'm sure the dirt sheets were all over this shit saying that he's going to be here at some point, or there's rumors about that. But the reaction was like, whew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and see at that point, I mean, obviously the dirt sheets were a thing. So, but I didn't read dirt sheet. I didn't, so I didn't know he was coming. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and actually now that I'm talking about this, I completely forgot. You know, this is what happens when you rush to make these
That's
lists.
10 years ago, actually. We should talk about that.
Yeah,
That's 10 years ago,
but
actually. I just remember that. Jesus.
all right, so I'm okay. Because this just reminded me of another, and then you talking about 2020 with Brock. It reminded me of something I forgot when I was making the list. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna make this a tie for number two.
Okay.
AJ debuting and then Edge coming back.
Of course.
Because again, like,
That
and
one was
look,
perfect.
now in hindsight, now I understand there was some chatter in the sheets about him coming back, but again, I was not reading that stuff, so I had no idea.
No, exactly. There was
I had
chatter.
no
Yes. I had no fucking clue.
because I wasn't reading the sheets. And at one point it was funny because like maybe like 6 months prior, um, somebody actually caught him at the gym, and so there was some kind of rumors swirling around that he might be trying to come back, and he straight up lied. He lied to he just said no, I'm not coming back. Come on, guys. He said I'm just getting back in shape because I let myself go. I'm just trying to get back in shape. I am not coming back. Right. And of course,
The funny thing is, though, he did appear at the SummerSlam in 2019, a few months prior, but he didn't do it because it was in Toronto. But he
yeah,
didn't do anything. He was just there, and he
yeah,
just came out and that was it.
yeah,
But the thing was, back then in 2020, I did read some of the sheets at the time. Things on the internet and IWC, all that. Actually be honest with you, 2020 for me it might be peak. Me being a dirt sheets guy. Because only because of the fact that you read on the internet, but nothing. And I mean nothing. I heard nothing in the store about Edge coming back.
yeah,
That was a natural reaction. And for me, too, the reason I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because that was one of my mentions too. Also, it was a big deal for me because remember that's the day Kobe Bryant died. So I came to that Rumble already depressed as is. All right.
yeah,
And so that Rumble played a large part in at least making me feel good about something that day, in an otherwise tragic day.
yeah,
So and that moment was one of those, like, obviously Brock and doing his thing, and the show in general was great, but the Edge moment was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I'm with you, man.
Because
Go ahead.
because just I mean that because it's funny because the first half of that Rumble was Brock doing all of that stuff,
Yep.
and then and then the match had kind of cooled off after that. So then when he came out there, yeah, I mean, oh my, yeah, that was just such a big deal.
Yeah, the whole thing was perfect. My number two actually is I'm gonna go all the way back to 1989, the first ever Rumble on pay-per-view. And that was when the Mega Powers almost exploded before they actually exploded 3 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hogan, and I say this quote unquote, accidentally knocked out Randy Savage. Remember, Hogan clotheslines Warlord, goes to the side where Savage and Big Bad News Brown are tangled up, eliminates both guys. Savage gets hot, and then they start. And that's important to the story because there was already some friction of the two guys, but it wasn't as palpable at the time. There was no physical contact yet at the time. There was just like little weird, eye rolling, and Jesse stirring the pot, this and that. But that was significant because that was the first time we saw actual contact between the two, where Savage pushed him, Hogan pushes it back, and they almost get into it. Liz runs down, down the aisle and trying to clear things up. Savage apologizes, and they clear things up. But that was significant. That was the last big piece of the things aren't as good as they seem before they actually broke up 2 weeks later in Milwaukee on the main event. So that moment for me was, again, another childhood inflection point for me of wrestling. So I love that. That's part of the whole build. When we talk about like this being the greatest storyline of all time, this is what we're talking about. These little things, these little nuggets, and then you have the real big one here that set the stage for February 3rd, 1989. So Mega Powers almost exploding at the Rumble in '89. All right, but what is your number one, Mr. Genius?
All right, number one, we're going to 1990.
Oh yes, can I guess it?
Yeah.
Is it Warrior Hogan?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they were okay. So they hadn't really interacted. They didn't at all.
Never.
But you could tell, like, Warrior won the Intercontinental title back at SummerSlam.
Correct.
Hogan was world champion. They were kind of running on these kind of parallel tracks. They were both main event house shows and different tours or whatever. And you could kind of look at it and think, because at that point, like that fall of '89, it kind of looked like, well, who's left for Hogan to fight?
Yeah, him and Savage burned out the whole thing already. Him and Zeus, they're not putting Zeus in the fucking title match. Come on.
No. And so, like he, and then looking ahead to WrestleMania, is like, well, who's left? And then you saw, and then of course Warrior was on the rise at the same time. So you could kind of look at it and say, well, maybe,
but the thing was made perfect was that we never at that time saw two baby faces go at it. Vince didn't do that normally. That was the big rub.
Yeah, and then when they finally, during that Rumble, when they cleared the ring, and it was just the two of them. I mean, that was, that was such a huge moment.
And that's the thing too. Also, there was no story behind that. There was nothing that built up. It's just that they touched up on Rumble, and then these are just the two biggest guys. And to go back to 1989, 1990 at that time, there's an argument that Ultimate Warrior at that point was as big, if not bigger than Hogan. Remember, at this point, there is some wear and tear on Hogan at this point now. There is a little bit of like fatigue, a little bit. So Warrior is the new guy at this point.
And like Warrior really looked like he might be the guy to
take the mantle.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so it was because for like I remember during the I think it was 91 NBA Finals when we had the Lakers and the Bulls.
And the Bulls, yeah.
Yeah. And then it looked like at that point, it looked like Warrior was going to be the guy to pick up the mantle and carry on after whenever Hogan was going to be finished.
Yeah.
And so then for them to finally meet, it was such a huge thing. Like it was
a big deal. I remember that being a big deal. No story. They announced the match, I think, about a week or two later. The Ultimate Challenge, of course. We did a watch along on that. Check it out on the YouTube page. You and I did a watch on last year on that exact match. And just the importance of that match at the time. Warrior was supposed to be the guy. And I'm so glad you picked out number one, because it sets up my number one, actually. Because Warrior did become the guy, actually, months later. But my number one goes back to the 1991 Rumble. Because I don't like the Warrior. Okay, I was mad that he beat Hogan at Mania. So my number, you want to guess what number one is?
Is Sergeant Slaughter beating him?
Yes, but
really?
Correct. Yes. However, it's not Slaughter beating him. Who cost him the match?
Savage.
Who's my favorite wrestler of all time?
Savage.
There you go. Savage fucked that shit up. Bro. The hardest hitting scepter I've ever seen. Bro. And by the way, that feud was great because it was built up where Savage was asking for a title shot for months. and he will send Sherry to do his job to ask Warrior, even throwing some little innuendos, and Warrior will say no. Which, for the record, why would Warrior say no to Savage? If you're the top guy and you don't hide from anybody, why are you turning on Randy Savage? That made no sense to me at all. That part of the story made no sense to me at all. But I love the fact that but probably why, because it sets up Savage. Savage says, well, you know what? You're not going to give me a title shot? I'm going to force you to lose your title. Of course, he did. Because in real time, the Warrior run was a failure.
Oh, yeah. And that's
so I'm glad Warrior lost the belt. And not only lost the belt, my boy is the reason why he lost the belt. Now, obviously, I had to pay the price for it 2 months later because career match, of course. Savage loses the Warrior. He goes away for a couple months, of course. But yeah, that's what number one. Because that was a great feud, by the way, though. That was a great feud, though. That whole build up to that match was and again, Macho Man just doing his damn thing. So that's my number one. There's a couple other ones, obviously, that I do like. We mentioned, you mentioned some of what I mentioned, of course. The Edge comeback from 2020 rather. Obviously HBK 95 against the toe tapping on the edge of the ring, winning the Rumble there. Think of some of them anymore. Cena's comeback, which I know in hindsight the difference in Cena's comeback in 2008. I love the Triple H Mick Foley match in 2000.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking a banger. So yeah, there's some really good moments there from Rumble. But these are my 5 favorite moments / matches of all time. So, which now leads us into the Rumble this year, which will take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Saturday. What is the tag on this thing? There's no tag on this, I guess, right? No. It'll be taking place at the King Abdullah Financial District. We have 4 matches so far set up. Of course, 2 of the matches are the Rumbles, 1 female, 1 male. Let's go to the first match first. It is a career-threatening match between AJ Styles and Gunther. If Styles loses, he will be forced to retire from in-ring competition. Rob, what do you think about this match? Who wins it, and how you think it'll go down?
Okay, so there's been a little intrigue from the rumor mill.
Okay, which is?
That AJ is saying that not retire from wrestling, but retire from WWE. So there's, so now, I've seen a few there's a little speculation going on.
Okay, is it dirt sheets, my friend?
Oh, not even dirt sheets. Just I've seen some different people on Twitter, and also in the Share Shack chat that we have.
Okay.
We've been kicking around also the possibility that he may do his final run in TNA and go back home or go back where he started to end things.
So we do know he's done after this year.
Well, because
but we're still in January though. I mean, could we get more run on this?
Yes, this year is it. Now, another thing that happened, Shinsuke Nakamura posted this long thing that he had written on his Instagram, and he said that like a year or 2 ago, like he and AJ were talking, and AJ said he was going to retire at the Royal Rumble. So
we're here.
Yeah. So I'm, because to me, look, as a fan, look, if he wants to retire, if it's his choice, if he really did want to end it here, then you can't fault him for that. You can't argue with him about that. It's his life and it's his career. But as a fan, I guess for me, for him to say that 2026 is his last year, and for it to end in January,
that feels weird.
That kind of sucks.
And random.
Yeah, and also, and this is also coming off of the Cena thing, where I know some people thought it was poetic or whatever, but a lot of people, including myself, thought it sucked. Um, so it's just um, but yeah, I think Gunther's gonna win. I mean, my heart says AJ, but I think Gunther's gonna win. I
He's
don't know.
gonna win, but they didn't say if he gets. What was DQ? What if Gunther wins, but there's DQ? I don't know. What's the count out? I don't know. Like, is it loses period? It says loses. That's it.
Yeah,
It feels very sudden that he will retire in January of 2026. At the
yeah,
same time, um, if what you're saying, him going to TNA at some point to wrap things up there, that does make sense. Because if he wants to be done wrestling in general in 2026, he needs some time to finish up things here. I'm assuming there's some non-compete things to deal with there first, and then do TNA at some point down the road and close the door there. But I mean, I can't think of a reason why Gunther won't win this match, other than the fact that AJ has more to give, I guess, this year. But I'm gonna go Gunther just because of that, because he is now the new Legend Killer. Now he's put Goldberg to retirement. He's put John Cena retirement. He's probably going to put AJ Styles retirement, and the rumor is now he will probably put in Brock Lesnar retirement this year, if those rumors are true. So, give me Gunther in this one. This is set up to be the year of Gunther in 2026, to be honest with you.
I just don't. I'm curious as just where it's gonna go, because
For who? For Gunther?
yeah, I mean,
Well, he's in the Rumble too, so he's doing double duty night on Saturday.
I did, okay, so
We'll get there in a second. So, but this is setting up to be the year of Gunther, though. At least from where I'm looking at it. I could be wrong, so I'm gonna go Gunther. Who do you have?
I'm gonna pick Gunther. Yeah.
All right. Second match here for the undisputed WWE Championship. It is Drew McIntyre, the champ, versus Sami Zayn. By the way, I didn't have a chance to do this because he won the title while we were on a little break. Super happy he's the champion for the record. Super happy about that. Your
Me
thoughts?
too. I mean, I wish they had done it a couple months sooner, but yeah, we're good. So,
And I think he'll hold the belt at least till Mania, if not beyond that. Give me him in this match against Sami Zayn. This will be a banger, I think, though. Sami Zayn puts some great bangers. Drew McIntyre, phenomenal. I love the angle he did with Cody and Jacob Fatu at the main event last week. Jumping in that brawl. That was great. I think Drew is with the belt finally. I mean, he's getting what he deserved because he didn't have a chance to be champion with the crowd. Now, granted, he's a heel though. It's supposed to be in a babyface, but regardless, man, I'm just glad he has a belt, man.
yeah,
I got Drew in this one.
Yeah, I got Drew winning this.
All right. Now we have the women's Rumble match, and so far, as of right now, 17 of 30 entrants have been announced. Enter the Rumble. We have Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Julia, Maxine Dupree, and Becky Lynch. I'm going to say this right now, Rob. Both male and female Rumble this year, this is the first time probably ever where I can't pick a winner. I don't know. This shit can go anywhere. This feels so wide open.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of people say that, but I think this is one of the more obvious ones.
Really? Okay,
yes.
On the female side, who would here's what I see happening in this Rumble. I see Charlotte and Alexa either breaking up this in the Rumble or start the clues of breakup, the Mega Powers kind of thing I told you about.
I hope they don't break up here. I mean,
but not the breakup, but you can do the teases.
I mean, because
maybe Alexa knocks out Charlotte accidentally, same way Hogan did the Savage.
Because
accidentally, quote unquote,
Yeah, I mean, this whole, as much as I've enjoyed this thing they're doing, the whole time I've been concerned that they're just going to pull a plug on it because
they're going to have to at some point, right?
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean, I'm pull the plug on it without a proper conclusion.
Well, I think, but would you agree, Alexa and Charlotte's a WrestleMania match anyway?
I mean, it is, but I mean, as it stands right now, they're going to. I mean, it wouldn't get the space that it deserves. I
Well, no,
mean,
here's what I'll say. I wouldn't do the breakup now, but I'll start the teases now.
yeah, I think it's. Yeah, if you want to, but I hope that I want it to be given a proper story and a proper conclusion, and not just because sometimes when they break people up, it's obvious that okay, well, we're going to they're splitting the team up because they got other things for the people to do.
So what's the schedule? You still have Elimination Chamber ahead,
Yeah,
and then that's it, right? And that's it,
then
right?
then it's WrestleMania. So
Right. No main events, right?
yeah. Well, then I think well they did say Saturday Night's main event, so I don't think there's another one before then. So
Until after Mania, right? Okay.
yeah, I mean
Um,
I could see yes I could see where they maybe started, but again you know if they just do some dumb shit where if they do some snap breakup and then because the bookers want them to go do separate things, then that's gonna stink. All right,
right.
and honestly, I am very wary that that's what they're going to do.
Do you think the Rumble winner in this match is one of these 17 ladies?
No,
Okay. So what is it going to be?
I think to me it's very obvious if she's ready to go, it's going to be Bianca.
Ooh, I did not consider that because she's still out. She's been hurt since what? Since summer? Before
Yeah,
that?
if she this is assuming that she's ready to go, and then it's her. Then there's nobody else.
Yeah.
There's no other choice.
If not Bianca, who would be the best person to be the winner, in your opinion?
Um, man,
Because I love your answer for the record.
okay. Um, I mean, because it just depends on what they want to do. Because all right, like if they're going to keep Rhea and Io together as a team, through WrestleMania, then obviously neither one of them is going to win. But they might just want to pull Rhea off. They might just want to put Rhea in a title match with against Stephanie McGuire. They might just want to do that. So she's a possibility. Um, there's honestly because I mean I know a lot of people have been saying Liv Morgan, but I just don't think they're going in that direction.
I love that. I can't see her winning it. Although I would say she's a better spot to win it now than at any point in her career.
But I just don't. It doesn't look like they're going in that direction because, uh, you know, um, so I don't think it'll be her.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, okay, if Bianca's there, she's winning. Period. Okay.
Okay.
So if she's not there, then I think they'll probably just have it be Rhea because Rhea's a good safe pick, and then her and Io will lose the tag team titles, and they'll probably just have her, you know, um, and they'll probably just have her challenge Stephanie McGuire if I mean. Because look, the Rumble winners are usually safe picks. I mean,
Yeah.
they're always safe. There's somebody who has already been established, even if they haven't won the world title yet. The Rumble winner is always somebody where you can look at how they're being presented on TV, and it's somebody who they have already made a decision on as being
Right.
world champion material or main event material. It's not. Okay, because every year there are always people on Twitter or whatever saying, "Oh, they should have somebody new. They should check. They should take a chance on this person." They never do that when they're Royal
No.
Rumble
Not at the time to do that shit.
because it's a WrestleMania match.
Exactly.
I mean, so I mean, no, I'm sorry, they're not going to have Saul Ruka win from NXT. They're not going to have that happen, or they're not. It's not going to be they're not going to have I know, and we're gonna get the close agreement in a few minutes. I know, but it's not gonna be her.
Well,
Okay.
you just stole my thunder. I will say,
Oh, sorry.
can you make a
But they
case?
just
No,
they
it's
just
okay. No, can you make a case for Chelsea Green though?
no
Okay, fair enough.
no
We'll
not
get to
this
this
year.
later on.
No,
Okay,
not this year. No.
I can make an argument for it though. We'll get to the next segment. When we
Well,
talk about that.
here's the problem. The problem is it's a WrestleMania match, and Who you want to have a wrestle?
Again, that's what the next segment. That's why I want to discuss that because it kind of encapsulates everything I want to discuss that was talked about on Unreal. But the safe bet is either Rhea, obviously Charlotte, but that's boring now. She does it
She
every,
won
every
last
time.
year. I mean, she
I
won
will
last
say Nia Jax is someone else you can look at as a possible winner.
year.
I don't think they pull that plug, pull that trigger,
No.
but Becky Lynch, maybe.
No, because she's fighting AJ.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
that's
no, I think what you said is earlier is probably gonna be the accurate one. If she comes back on Saturday, it is Bianca Belair.
yeah. And if not her, then I'd probably either Rhea or Io. Or look, or
It
they might do the Brett Luger thing and have Rhea and Io fall out at the same time. I mean,
right. What about she's not on the list here. What about Jade?
who?
Jade Cargill.
She's already champ.
Oh
She's not.
shit, that's right. Duh. I
Yeah.
forgot she's champion still. Yeah, that didn't make any sense. And she's feeling with Jordan Grace now currently. Also,
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
so that doesn't make sense. See, again, I'm still catching up on the shit there.
that's okay, man.
Um, I'm going Bianca because I think that makes more sense. Otherwise, they'll go safe and they'll probably go with one of the Becky, Rhea, Nia possibility. And you can talk me to Asuka.
Not now.
You don't think so? Not now.
No.
All right.
If Bianca's not in the match, then I think it'll either be Rhea or Io. I think.
All right. All right. So that's in the men's rumble now. All right. 15 of 3 participants have been announced as of today. They are Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Penta, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Javon Evans, and yes, Obafemi is in the rumble. So the easy answer is Roman.
Yes.
I don't think. I think sometimes the easy answer is too obvious. I think the men's rumble is a little more defined than the women's rumble. But who? Like Gunther would be obviously be a nice one. I think Gunther's the final four, man. How you slice it. The guy I'm watching in this rumble more than anybody else is Braun Breaker. That's the guy I'm watching the most in this rumble. And that again, this is of the 15 guys that have announced. I'll ask you again, Rob. Is your winner of this rumble one of these 15 guys?
I think it's the Captain Obvious pick. I think it's Roman because they've set up. All right, so they made a point Monday of Adam Pearce made a point Monday of telling the whole Vision group that okay, all of you guys are in the Rumble. And Logan Paul made a point like, okay, guys, we're all going to work together, and I think we should all help Braun win the Rumble. And that's, I think that's kind of a giveaway that that's not going to happen. So,
yeah,
I think again, well, I think Roman's the obvious pick because now maybe look I think Roman's the obvious pick, and because you have to, I mean, just again, this comes down to what matches are you going to make, right? This is WrestleMania, biggest show of the year. You're not going to do Braun Breaker versus CM Punk when you have Roman Reigns versus CM Punk right there.
right.
Not at WrestleMania. Okay, you're not going to do that. All right. Now I think Braun is going to win the world title later on this year, at some kind of way.
Yeah,
but like you're not going to do Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and then have Roman fight somebody else in some mid card match. You're not doing that, all right? And so people got to just if not Roman, then Cody's in the match, but you're not going to have Cody win the thing win it 3 times in 4
no,
years.
that's too. I think we're not there yet, but I think we've already peaked out on Cody's, likability.
Well, yeah, I think we've peaked. It's just now you have to. like now you just kind of safeguard it, you know,
Yeah.
because you need to pull him back now. This year they need to pull him back this year as far as because
Overexposure.
yeah, if you do it, yeah, I think yes, because if you go a whole nother year with him winning back the title and then holding it for the whole rest of the year, then I think yeah, again, it is overexposure, and I know people will say, "Well, Roman had the title for 3," but the difference, but go back and watch. Um, it was much more compelling television. The blood, 'cause you had
Right.
the whole bloodline story going on,
And he was a heel.
and yeah, and but it was just, I mean, it was more compelling television. It was better television. I
Yeah.
mean, so like you know, um, so you could have a 3+ year title reign because of the way the characters were working and all of that stuff. Um,
You know where we're at right now with Cody? Right now we're at 1989, like late 89, early 90 Hogan. He's still loved, but
yeah,
there's definitely okay. What's next? Okay, there's another guy I like too. Also, still love him, but
yeah,
a little fatigue. Not quite 92. 91, 92, but we're getting there.
yeah. It's not to the point where like, if people are not openly just booing him, but
Right, but it's definitely it's not as loud as it used to be.
that yeah, and then so right now I think they need to put him back, and so I think him winning would be a mistake. I think it would be a
Yeah.
booking mistake to have him win. So then other than that, like I just don't see again who are you going to put in the WrestleMania main event, right? Now if Cody was still champion, I thought that maybe they had Gunther winning, have Gunther beat Cody at WrestleMania.
Hmm.
But since Cody's not champ, I don't then you happen. Um, yes, I just I think again you gotta just like this again this is for a WrestleMania match, and so the biggest right now with the roster set up as it is, the biggest thing you can do right now, the biggest title match you can do right now with the roster as it is do Roman and CM Punk. I mean, that's the biggest title match you can make right now with who they have.
Is there a desire to see that? Those question.
Let's say again,
Is there a desire to see that? The question though.
Roman and CM Punk, absolutely.
Okay.
Um, there's definitely more for that than I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, but trust because look, Roman and CM Punk, they're like 1 and 2, and if we're talking about just overall popularity and all
Yeah, I
things.
am stunned that Punk is still over as he is as a baby face.
I
I'm
mean,
stunned.
well, because he man, he's really that good at what he does.
He's great on
Um,
the stick. He's great on the stick.
yeah,
He connects well on the stick. That's one thing I will say about Punk. Obviously Roman's a great answer. You're never gonna go wrong with Roman. That's always a safe bet. I just don't know if I'm gonna go safe. I don't think Cody wins at all. I think Cody's out. My winner is most likely gonna be either Gunther or Braun Breaker. With Roman being the obvious, okay, well, if you go safe bet, you go Roman. But to me, the two guys I'm looking at is Braun Breaker and Gunther.
okay. Because I guess the thing is, if one of the if Ron Breaker or Gunther wins, then what do you do with Roman?
Well, you have the chamber for that,
Okay, and then
and then
so
from there you figure it out from there at that point. So right now the two champions right now are Drew and it's Drew and who and Punk, right?
yeah,
Currently,
yeah, and
any chance we see Seth Rollins bounce back here, or
well, it all just depends. I mean, well, um, I mean, he hasn't, he's been kind of coy as far as
it's been gone since what September, maybe earlier than that,
October.
October, not
Yeah,
long. He needs to rest up though, bro. He needs to rest up a little bit. He's been going on the go for a while.
And then he always rushes back, and so yeah, he needs to.
I think he does that because he's the one who's a spot. Here's the thing, though. I think Seth is at a
Oh
point
yeah,
now
I mean,
where, but here's the thing,
well,
though. But he's at a point now in his career where you don't have to worry about it anymore. You're a top guy.
well, yeah, but I mean, well, he and his wife are both that way. They don't leave.
That's true.
They don't leave unless they don't take time off unless they get hurt. Um, I think they both kind of have that mentality that I can't be absent. You know.
True.
Um,
Fair point.
um,
I'm gonna go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, well, I'll be look if he's ready to go. Yeah. So look, if he's even remotely close to being ready to go, he'll be there. I don't think he wins because I think he's gonna, or this other thing, like so when he comes back, I mean, that person I thought they did. No, they look. It was always going to lead towards the group turning on him, right? But I think they jumped the gun with that because now when he comes back, you know, it's going to be his baby face. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit too early to do all that, but see.
Okay, I'm gonna go either Gunther or Braun, but Roman I was just a great answer. It was a safe bet. So there's your Royal Rumble preview for this weekend again on ESPN Unlimited, which I still do not have as yet. Two more things to get out of here. Because I teased a little while ago, Chelsea Green. Michael Hayes, of course. WWE Unreal Season 2 is out on Netflix. There's a quote from him talking about Chelsea Green. Here's a quote here. He says, Chelsea is so entertaining, but she is not built for, nor should she be in the Charlotte Flair role or Tiffany Stratton, because Chelsea's job is to help make those people. Now, I brought this up because, again, we talked about it on the women's section of the Rumble preview about possible winners to go to Mania to face a champion. And I brought Chelsea Green. You said, no, you can't see it happening. And Michael Hayes agrees with you on that as well, too. My question to you is this. Could you ever see Chelsea Green at any point before her days are over being a top female?
Being a top female? No.
Yeah.
Maybe winning one of the two world titles one day. Sure. But being top, no. I just don't. Because the, I just don't. I mean, look, and it's a perception thing largely. I mean, and yeah, I think it's mainly a perception thing. I mean, I think yes, again, she absolutely could win one of the top titles one day. But being like a top woman in the on either of the two shows, I just
Because I agree with you also on that. Like, I could see her winning, maybe being a, transitional champion for someone, like a Sergeant Slaughter was for a while, or, for example, but here's the thing. Like, when we say that, people think that's an insult, and it's not, because we people forget to have a strong wrestling company, you need to have not only a strong top of the card, you need a strong mid card too as well. Right. Like, one of the reasons why the new generation era flopped and failed miserably because there's nothing wrong with the top of the card. You had Brett, you had Sean, all those top guys, but the middle of the card sucked. So you had the top guys doing great things, but the middle card do nothing. It's not an insult. One of the reasons why I love Hulkman era is because not only because Hogan and Savage and those guys doing their thing, the middle of the card was strong as hell. You had some of the best matches, in that era in the middle of the card. Tio Santana, Rick Martel, some of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Rick Rude, Roddy Piper, you name it. Ted DiBiase, all mid-card guys, all significant.
And my guy, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Jake the Snake Roberts, probably the greatest of all time.
And this is because Jake never held a title. He was never even Intercontinental Champion. He never.
I do wonder though if Jake wrestled in. Let's say you take the amount of belts we have now and back then.
Oh, he
Maybe
would win
because he
now.
maybe was the U.S. title, maybe U.S. maybe he's transitional champion, but back then he wasn't getting it because of Hogan.
Well, now, I mean, now, shoot, he might be because now, I mean, his mic work is so his mic work was superior to like 90% of the people working today, right?
Yeah,
If you were wrestling now, he'd probably be in the main event off of his mic work.
yeah. Look at
Um,
CM Punk.
yeah, but back then he not only did he never hold the title, he rarely even got a title match. Okay, but he was in these really awesome mid card feuds where and with Ricky Steamboat and with um, Rick Rude and with Ted DiBiase and with Andre and Rick
Hmm.
Martel, um, and you needed that there. I mean, again, one of the, like you said, one of the reasons that era was so good was because of guys like him and Tito and you know and Ricky Steamboat, and yeah, and Hacksaw Duggan in the mid card, right? And guys like that, you know, and I mean, guys like Junkyard Dog or I mean, Paul Orndorff, right? And when he wasn't challenging Hogan,
Of
right?
course.
You know, yeah, I mean that's a big reason why that era was as good as it was because you had all of those guys, and then so you need people like that, and also, I mean, one of the things about the women's division is that well, people are making there've been a lot of people complaining like over the last year, especially with the women's U.S. title,
Yeah,
that they're just that it's just kind of a flop division because like whoever's the champ, there's really there's nobody really who's over, amongst their challengers, right? And so now on Raw, they had Becky win their Continental title. That solved that problem. But on SmackDown, I mean, Chelsea had the title a couple of times, but then Julia's had it, and they've had no challengers. And so, I mean, you do need a strong mid card, like you said. And also, but again, a lot of this stuff is just there's a perception game. And it's not just amongst the bookers or the IWC. Like there's the general audience kind of forms opinions of people also, like the larger audience, and and then and it's not as nitpicky or as weird as the IWC gets, but the general audience just they look at you, they watch you wrestle a little bit, they see how your character goes, and they just kind of say they just kind of choose, right?
yeah, yeah,
And it's which is why guys like great is like somebody like Cesaro. Cesaro was a great wrestler, but he's one of those guys like the audience liked him and they popped for his big moves. But if you were to poll like not the IWC, but just like the people who go to house shows or whatever and ask them, what do you think about Cesaro? They would say, you know, US champion or tag team champion.
yeah. Not world
If
champion.
yes, yeah, you say, well, you think Cesaro could be world champion? Yeah, not really.
And that's the thing too. Also, not everybody can be in a world championship picture. There's only a few spots there. You want to clog it, so you want to flourish in the mid card.
And
That's
also, I
not
mean,
insult at all.
no, and then also, I mean, there's this kind of thing with on the women's side where at least with the IWC they want everybody to get a turn, like they want everybody who shows any type of even a little bit of promise, you
Right.
know, to get a turn, and to the point where they want and it's just and it doesn't work that way. I mean, the world title doesn't mean anything if everybody wins it.
The thing is too. Also, here's what Chelsea has something going for her, though. A lot of these top ladies are probably going to be out soon or close to being out. We don't know. Like girls hitting close to the 40s. I'm not saying they're not going to continue wrestling, but Becky has for the idea of going to Hollywood at some point. Has been worried about that. Remember she has a kid also too. Charlotte. Who knows what Charlotte with her injuries history as of late. You have now Bianca's not no threat yet, but she's another other side of 30 as well too. You got a lot of top girls. I think Rhea's the only one that's safe, but you still need dance partners. So I do think there was a situation brewing in a sense where Chelsea Green. I'm going to sit there and say she's going to be the number one person in the company for that side of the the gender, but at the same time, she can find her way because she's doing great work now. Her work is interesting already. It would not surprise me if they, while, and I do agree with Michael Hayes, said here, I also think that I will not write that off either, because if the opportunity arises where we need bodies, we need some new fresh names at the top, here's Chelsea Green, who has been doing great work for a couple of years now. Let's give her a shot. It will not shock me if they give her a shot. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Well, I think. Yeah, I think a lot of it is it's perception.
Yeah.
And also
Because
perception.
she's unfortunately right now pigeonholed into the role she is right now. Unfortunately, she is.
Yeah, and yeah. So look, never say never.
Yeah, of course.
But and look, and I've said before, she's the heir apparent to the Miz.
Yes, that's a perfect comp. But his thing, even Miz had a stab at it.
Well, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did get. He
I
did
can see that too.
And now when he got his big run as world champion, that was during one of the down times. I mean,
Take some chances. Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and you hate to just completely write somebody off, but because because again, she's been one of the best, most entertaining things in the whole company for the past year.
And that's why I don't think what Michael Hayes said was insulting. I think he just recognizes the fact that where she's at is so great what she does.
Yeah,
but it's also important to what they're doing.
And that's the thing.
That middle.
I think we as fans, or particularly in the IWC, we write off stuff like what she's doing.
Yeah,
it's treated as if it's an insult to be that person, right? And or treated as if it's an insult to be in that kind of role, and it's not. It's
I know.
Really, and I mean, because again, I mean, look, wrestling shows 3 hours long, right? I mean,
yeah,
you can't just have the women maybe get about a third or a quarter of that, and you can't just have 10 women fighting for the world championship, right?
Right.
Like you gotta split the division up and have different people doing different things. But so I don't think it's an insult to say that she's great at what she does and she's in a really good spot, and where she is on the show really makes the show better and all of that.
Totally agree.
And also,
Right.
for her to be a top woman on the roster, then she'd also have to get more serious as a character.
Yeah.
And then okay, so if she does that, then who's gonna do what she's doing now?
She has value. She has value.
Yeah, I mean, and I say that about, and whenever people bring up like Bianca turning heel, that's always my answer. It's like, okay, if you turn Bianca heel, who's gonna do what she does right now?
Exactly.
And they don't have anybody.
Right.
Okay.
Don't do changes. Don't do changes for the sake of change, because then you put some in the corner now, and the other spots that need to be filled, and you have to want to fill those spots. Totally agree with you on that one. All right, if we get you out of here, one more thing. This year is also the 25th anniversary of the 2001 Royal Rumble, which of course took place January 21st, 2001, in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the New Orleans Arena. The attendance was 17,137. The buy rate 625,000. The tagline: 30 men every man for himself, one victor. Rob, there were actually 6 matches for the show. I think it was what the first match was actually a pre-show match between was called Lowdown, which is Chaz and D'Lo Brown defeating Kai and Tai Funaki and Taka Michinoku in 2 minutes, of course. But the rest of the card was on the pay per view. Dudley Boys defeat Edge and Christian by pinfall for the tag titles. I'm sure that was a banger. I haven't seen it in a long time. Chris Jericho defeats Chris Benoit for the ladder match for the IC title.
That was really good. Although
Yeah, I watched it in a long time.
No, we don't. Of course, we don't mention one of the people in that match anymore.
Too late. I just did. Sorry.
You know,
We lost title. He lost the night that night though.
yeah.
Ivory with Steve Richards defeats China by pinfall for the women's title. You had Kurt Angle with Trish Stratus defeat Triple H with Stephanie McMahon Helmsley by pinfall for the WWF title.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the Rumble by eliminating Kane last in an hour and 1 minute and 22 seconds. So I run this card down to you. What comes to your mind? What? By the way, the first match was on Sunday Heat for the record. What comes to your mind when you hear these names, these cards, and the era? What comes to your mind?
Well, the first match that comes to mind is the ladder match. Because it was really good, and for a long time that was the match that was talked about the most from this card until
I gotta watch that tonight, probably.
Yeah, until that thing happened where we can't talk about one of the people in that match anymore.
I get it, man.
I'm being tongue in cheek here. I mean,
I know you are.
I know. But I mean, on a serious note, like I'm at the point with that guy where I've tried watching some of his matches because at one point he was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I've tried watching some of his matches more recently, and I just can't. Yeah.
I'll tell you this much though. It's not like I can't watch his matches because of what he did. It's because the bumps he took.
Well, then that's part.
It's uncomfortable watching, knowing.
For me, it's both. It's because exactly because you see what he did to him, and the person we're talking about is Chris Benoit. Okay,
yeah.
And now it's like you see. Anytime you watch one of his matches now, he took some hellacious bumps all the time, and so now like whenever you see it, it's like and you see where it ended up into him being in the state of mind that he was in.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, it's kind of hard but I think that's the one that for a long time was the match that people talked about him and Chris Jericho in the ladder match. And then the main event, Austin won. That was his third Rumble victory.
Yeah.
Now we said that Cody winning 3 times in 4 years would be too much. For him, for Austin, it was not. And now it was his third in 5 years, not 4, and he had been out for a year.
Right. He just did that his comeback.
So that, and then also like he and Rock, it was very similar to Hogan and Warrior, where it's like there's just you knew at some point just because of their both their positions, they were the 2 guys above everyone else. And so you figured one of them was going to win the Rumble, and it turned out to be Austin. And also, but coming out of that, like they went through some twists and turns to get to WrestleMania 17 because Rock would end up winning the world title from Kurt Angle in the next pay-per-view. And so we weren't sure if we were going to get the match at first, but then Rock won the world title, and then we were off to the races. And 2001 would be kind of that was Austin's last full year on the roster. Of course, nobody knew it at the time it was going to be, but that Rumble where he won, it was a big deal. And again, we didn't know at the time that was going to be his last full year.
Yeah. Were you watching in real time?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I started to dip out in the next year. 2002 was when I started to dip out, but I was still fully.
Right.
I was still fully immersed in 2001.
because I was kind of in and out at this point. I was hardcore, especially in 98, 99. 2000 was kind of started my yeah, I'm watching, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not really married to the TV. Like I'm still watching Raw here and there, but not as much. 2001, same thing too. Also, for me, I came back probably 2002 for a little bit, a quick little run, and then I was after that. So obviously, Austin wins it, but of course, this sets up his eventual heel turn at Mania when him and Rock went at it at 17, Mania 17 rather. Um, so this stands up for me more than anything else because the fact that I wasn't watching much at the time, but to set the stage for this is the end of the peak of WWE at this point, because obviously WCW is going under a few weeks after this. Yeah. But the Attitude Era peaked, I in my opinion, peaked out in 99, 2000.
Yeah, because it's funny.
It may be before that, to be honest with you, but 99, I would say the peak was 99.
Well, because just from a TV rating standpoint,
right.
It peaked in 99. And this was kind of, well, WrestleMania 17, like the Attitude Era, it didn't officially end until WrestleMania 18.
But many believe that's the bookend.
But like 17 was, I'd say 17 was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And it's just, things just, because things slowly started, things were, because, a big part of the Attitude Era was the Monday Night War. And so WCW going under was kind of a big part of that. And it's just the whole, that just the landscape had changed. And then, but again, we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And we didn't know, and at that point we didn't know WCW was going under, because there were rumors going around that Eric Bischoff was going to try to buy it and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then just out of the blue, Turner canceled them from they canceled the TV shows. And then once that happened, then they were done.
Yeah. So like 2001 is kind of, like I said, kind of blurs for me outside WrestleMania 17. But this set the stage for the end of that era, pretty much. So yeah, Rumble was not a bad Rumble, but some of these matches look. I watched these matches in the past, but it's been a long time. Not to be uncomfortable here, I may rewatch that Benoit Jericho match because those guys put on bangers, even WCW too, also.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Like I said, it is for me, it is uncomfortable watching them at times, but not only because of the reasons of what I told you, it's also because of those bumps he takes over and over and over. It's like, God darn it, man! Another headshot, another head. He was so intense,
Yeah.
So anyway, anyone plug?
Well, as always, you can hear me on the Mindless Wrestling Podcast with DJ and Jason, and you can hear me every few weeks on the Rob the Genius Podcast. I'm in the process of figuring out what I'm going to talk about for this next episode.
There's nothing to talk about, buddy.
We got all this NFL stuff. We're going towards Super Bowl. These coaching hires have been very underwhelming.
Well, except for the Giants, of course.
Well, yeah, y'all got Harbaugh, so congrats. Yeah.
I hear the sarcasm in your voice there.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh is hilarious to me, though, man.
Stupid.
We got to get Tomlin out here. Tomlin got to go. Tomlin got to go. And hello, and y'all hired Mike McCarthy.
Makes no fucking sense. No fucking sense.
I'll be honest with you. You got what you wanted. Y'all got what y'all wanted.
Isn't this not really fucked up as someone who loves football? Follow me here.
Okay.
Like growing up, I would get even though I'm a basketball diehard, but growing up, I would get the run the press one this time because Super Bowl's here means the season's over. There's nothing to watch. I love basketball. As an adult, I'm fine with it. I can do after a while. I'm burnt out on football. I need to go away for a little while. So when it comes back, in August, September, I'm excited again. So as an adult, I don't mind being gone. I'm like, okay, I can do less pods on football. I can kind of watch some of my TV shows I'm behind on, and because football, for me anyway, because I do content of football too. Also on top of that, it takes up a lot of brain space for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that and I understand. But it's yeah, this off season has been very strange. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna get worse.
I think strange is the right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. All those coaches got fired, and it's yeah. I mean, next season's gonna be. I think next season's gonna be kind of weird.
I think it's good for the league though, because I mean, this year Patriots and Seahawks, who the hell had that Super Bowl on the bingo card? Nobody did.
Yeah, and
Hell, we even sure these two teams were playoff teams, much like Super Bowl teams.
yeah, and oh man, and the Josh Allen stuff is funny, man. I mean, I have never seen football media take up for somebody like this.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm old enough to remember. Look, Peyton Manning used to get crushed for losing in the playoffs.
he did.
Um, John Elway got crushed for getting blown out in the Super Bowl. Um, I mean, and
Because Josh Allen comes off very likable. That's why.
I mean that, and then there's also I'll go ahead and say it I think for some of these folks, he's like the Great White Hope. I mean, because
Is some of that there too?
just it's funny the way the landscape of quarterbacking has changed in the past 15 years. Because it used to be you might have one or two black quarterbacks in the whole league. Now you have like half of them are, and most of the ones in the top 5 or 6 are, and that is kind of I think look that's just a shock to the system for a lot of people, and so and look and look it's some of it's just marketing kind of stuff. Like, just like you do want some top tier white American NBA players. Yes, you do. Okay. So yes, like you do want some top tier white guys playing quarterback. Yes, you do. Okay. And I think a lot of there are people who kind of latched on to him to be that guy.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of hoping. Right? But what's funny to me because I mean Drake May looks like he's gonna be really good. I
Yep.
mean, uh
There's a chance that Josh Allen may not ever go to Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah,
right now, if you look at the Bills right now and they're ready to run their team right now, I
yeah.
don't have
I
any
mean
faith in
it's
that with that team right now.
yeah, it's very possible. Because New England, at least for right now, looks to be on the rebound. Um, and you know, the Ravens are not they're not fading away.
Just yet, no. Right, Chiefs will be
No.
back at some point.
Yeah, once Mahomes gets back, the Chiefs will be back to what they're doing, and then the Chargers are good.
Denver's good.
Houston with that defense is good. Um, so it may not happen. It just may not happen for 'em.
He may be Dan Marino. He may be Dan Marino.
Yeah.
So to say, but it's not bad. I love Dan Marino. Top
No,
six, seven quarterback.
yeah, but it's just I mean I think just some I mean just openly just feeling sorry for the man when on TV is
It's
just
very biased. It's
it's
harder to win the NFL than it is in the NBA, man, because of even you could be great as hell, but you don't got a defense, you don't got a good coach, or a capable front office, you're screwed. It's just that simple.
yeah, and then the playoffs are one and done. So
Yep.
you know
Margin error is much bigger, much bigger.
yeah.
So anyway, good job as always. Of course, I am on X at EJ Christian number 7. Falls count anywhere. Back with you guys finally for the new year. Enjoy Royal Rumble this weekend. We'll be back hopefully next week to recap Rumble and see. Well, Rumble will be the start of the WrestleMania journey. So
Yes.
now that football's over, now I'm back. So tell you guys later. God bless y'all. Until next episode.